Hi everyone, it's Monica, and welcome back to Tailor-Made Cards for You. Well, today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to be talking about recycled items and why you shouldn't throw away some of that packaging you get with all of your goodies. Now, have you ever really stopped and looked at some of the packaging that you get? Some of it has some really great designs. And not only that, it's pretty good quality. If you look at the back of your paper stacks, that cardboard that you receive is really sturdy and it holds up nicely to mixed media items. Now, some of the packaging that you might get even might have some little words that you can use. Some of the background also has script writing, and it works great for cutting up some of your die cuts or even using as a background for some of your cards. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today. We're going to be using some of these recycled items and we're going to transform them into items you can use on some of your designs. So let's get started. Now, the first thing I want to say is not all cardboard is created equal. Some of it is actually thicker than others and some of it is thin and it's very flexible. So when you're deciding what type of cardboard you want to use, you're going to have to take into consideration what type of die cuts you also have. Now, if you have the real heavy steel die cuts, then thickness isn't going to be a problem because that sucker is going to go through anything. But if you only have the thinlits or the thinner die cuts, then you're probably going to only be able to use some of the thinner backings and some of the thinner cardboard. So here's an example of what I did with one of the thicker cardboards. I was able to use my steel die cut and cut out this nice clock. And I could have easily done all this with paper, of course, but now the clock is very sturdy and it's going to hold up nicely to some of my paints and my mixed media items. Now here's another item that I cut from the backing of the Prima flowers. I was able to incorporate some of the wording and it created a nice tag. Now here's the thinlet I was telling you about. This particular die cut isn't going to work with a very thick cardboard, so I had to make sure that I had thinner cardboard when running it through my Big Shot. And then finally, I have this backing that has the script. It's a little bit too small to use for that heart die cut, but I can easily use my punch. And now I have some really great hearts to add as embellishments to some of my projects. Okay, so here are two pieces of cardboard that I used with the thick steel cut. And I want to go ahead and use some of my mixed media products and show you how nicely these cardboards are going to hold up. This first spray that I'm going to be using is from Tattered Angels, and it's called Woven Burlap. And it sprays on really nicely. It's more of a vintage tone, so when I saturate the cardboard, it makes the clock look kind of old. But you can see that even though I saturated the cardboard, it's still going to hold up really nicely. It's not going to be like paper and it's not going to fall apart on me. I can easily dab up the excess, set it aside, and the structure of the die cut is going to hold together. Now the next thing we're going to do with the tag is we're going to actually combine a couple of mixed media items. We're going to first spray the tag, which will create some moisture. And typically moisture will make your cardstock a little bit less durable, but because you're using the thicker cardboard, it's going to hold up really nicely. And then after we spray it, we're going to also add some texture paste. Now the next two sprays that I'm using are from Tattered Angels as well, and they're from the Calendar Paint system. I'm using the Be Mine Glimmer Mist and the Valentine Pink Glimmer Mist. Now at this point, I've sprayed my tag with 2 of the glimmer mists, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to add one more type of mixed media product, and that is texture paste. And what I'm trying to show you here is that the cardboard will not only hold its durability when you spray it, but it also is really nice when you have products that weigh a little bit more. And typically when you're adding texture paste, it will add some weight to your cardstock. So if you start out with a nice base, then your finished item won't be too heavy. It's still going to have some weight to it, but because the base that you're working with is very durable, it's not as flimsy and it will hold up again really nicely. Now the final technique I want to show you when working with some of these recycled cardboards is your ability to actually add some thinner cardstock to the cardboard, and then after you've added that, you can go ahead and cut it into a die cut. Now the paper stack that I'm working with is from 7 Gypsies, and it's the Ordre du Jour. It's an 8x8 double-sided paper variety pad. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and use some of this designer paper to create a thicker type of die cut. Now I know not all of us use those mixed media products that I was demonstrating earlier. Not everybody has texture paste, and maybe you don't have a good supply of those spray mists, but I can probably guarantee you have some designer paper in your stash. So let me go ahead and show you, by adding some of this designer paper to the thicker cardboard, some of the designs you can come up with. Now, you might be saying to yourself, Monica, why don't I just cut out my paper with my die cut? But again, the point here is we want to have something a little bit stronger, a little bit more durable. And the more durable that it is, then the more likelihood that it's going to be able to hold up some of those heavier items. I know a lot of us like to add those pretty Prima paper flowers onto our cards, or perhaps you want to add some metal keys or some metal embellishments. Well, the thicker your base, again, the more likelihood that your card is going to hold up and it's going to be able to withstand some of those heavier items. And that's really what I'm trying to show you here today. Now, one of the things you want to be aware of is by adding that extra piece of cardstock, it may take that cardboard over the limit and your thinner die cuts may not cut entirely through, but as it did in this example here. But I did get a deep enough impression where I can go ahead and finish off the die cut using my scissors, and that seemed to work fine. But if it was just a little bit thicker, I may not have been able to cut it out as easily as I did here in this picture. So this is really what I wanted to show you today. We're not going to be creating a card or a project. I just wanted to show you how to use some of your recycled items and get you thinking about that. So anytime you open up a package or are playing with a product, ask yourself, can I use this packaging for something? Is the cardboard something I can recycle and use? And you know what? That might just help your crafting budget if you use some of those recycled items. My plan is to come back tomorrow and create something with these recycled items. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, be sure you hit that subscribe button on your way out so you don't miss out on our video tomorrow. All right, everybody, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you again next time.